Welcome back to River Reflections.
Thank you so much for joining us on our very final episode of River Reflections.
As sad as we are to end the series, we have had a blast filming these episodes.
Which is why we decided to dedicate this episode to you on a topic that you guys chose, which was phones.
Now, we know that phones are the current talk of the school.
But we're not talking about them the way that you think we are.
We're talking about how, as students, as sad as it may be, we may have an addiction to our phones.
In this episode, we will be talking to students about phone addiction as well as how they think it plays a role in our society today.
So get ready to lock in and get ready for our first guest, Sam Graziano.
Welcome, Sam, to River Reflections.
Thank you so much for having me.
Anything you want the audience to know?
I'm a senior here at James River. I played volleyball for 4 years, and I want to teach elementary education.
Great.
Awesome.
All right, for our first question, we have, how often do you check your phone in school or class, and what is it that makes you want to check your phone?
I check my phone like a decent amount, I would say. I don't think I'm like crazy addicted to my phone, but I definitely like check it. The only times I would say I don't are like classes where like I have to put them up. Like in my English class, we have like the phone pockets.
Yeah.
But like if I'm allowed to have it out, I usually just go on it. I'm usually like answering texts from my friends or just like going on Instagram or TikTok.
Yeah, fair. I feel like that's kind of what I do too. There really isn't that many classes where I feel like they like ask you to put it up, but
Yeah.
for most of them, I feel like you kind of have to.
All right, thank you so much for your answer. Moving on to our next question. Do you think that phones are affecting students' academic performances, and how so?
I definitely do. I think that, like I was saying before, like in the classes where I can like am allowed to go on my phone, I definitely like there are days where I'm just like I can't focus. And so like sometimes I have to like play like a game on my phone to be able to like hear what the teacher's saying, because otherwise I definitely find myself like zoning out. I think like especially with like people I know, like they're smart people, but they just don't care because they just want to play on their phones. And like I've seen how like them missing an assignment they need to turn in, like it definitely affects them. Like not that they're like doing bad in the class because they can get away with it, but like they just don't have the grade that I know that they could because they're just on their phone the whole time.
So much for your answer. For our final question, we have, how do you think we can help students get rid of their phone addiction? Do you have any personal methods you use to help yourself?
I think it's like we were talking about before, it's like finding that balance. I don't think it's like plausible to just everybody put up their phones. What I like to do is just like put it in my backpack so I try not to see it. Or like if I'm studying with a friend, I will literally hand my phone over and I'm like, you need to hold this. Don't let me check this for like another 45 minutes. And like there are definitely like study habits you can develop. Like 10 minutes on your phone, 45 minutes studying, or even like 5 and 30. Like finding the way that's right for you, I think, is what's really important about this whole thing.
Finding those like breaks for yourself, I feel like that really helps too. Because I mean, you shouldn't like force yourself like not to be on your phone, because of course like we want to be on our phones, we want to like check what's going on, and that's fine. But like having that like you said, balance, that's really been the main thing. It's just like that balance of like, this is time I need to do my work, and then this is time that I need to like kind of like disassociate and like kind of like calm myself down, because you don't want to always be like so clouded by all your academic stuff. You want to have that time for yourself. So that's like understandable. I get it from like that point of view, but it's like constantly being on your phone and not like focusing on what's really important, that's like my main thing.
Yeah.
And the method where like handing your phone over to your friend or something, that works pretty good, because you and me do the same thing when we're trying to study for our capstone. This thing right here. Like we'll hand it off and we'll get so much work done. And then after we'll just scroll for a couple minutes and then get some more work done. And I feel like that's such an effective strategy.
I think it's also like you have to take into account that people who make phones make them with the dopamine. Like it is meant to be addictive. And like everybody's a phone. I don't know a single person above the age of 10 that doesn't have a phone. Like I'm in Teachers for Tomorrow, and my 7 and 8 year olds have iPhone 15s, which I think is a little crazy, but who am I to parent them? But it's just like they're supposed to be addicting. So like it's about combating that and like knowing you can't not be on your phone all the time. Like not all the time, but like you can't just put your phone away for like ever and like never be on it, because, and we talked about it earlier, growing up in this environment, we have grown up like addicted to these things. And like not even just phones, like screens. I don't know if you guys, but like I grew up watching YouTube videos and like I would like watch these videos for like hours, which I would literally stay up on my school Chromebook and watch movies and YouTube videos until 3 a.m, like a crazy psycho. And my mom had to start taking my Chromebook from me at night. And my mom would put all my devices downstairs, which I think is also, this is not so much about in school, but like having your phone in your room at night is like harmful, I think, because like the dopamine, it keeps you awake. It's like you can't just put your phone down. I'm sure we've all experienced like you go on TikTok and you're like, I'm gonna go to bed in like 5 minutes, and oh my gosh, an hour has passed and I've just done nothing and I could have been sleeping.
So, for our first question, how often do you check your phone in school or class, and what is it that makes you want to check your phone?
Well, I think I check my phone as often as like I'm allowed to. If there's no instructing going on, I probably will just take a little peek. But if the teacher is at the front talking, or if I have an assignment, I'll probably not check my phone. I'll just have it in my book bag. But most of my classes are allowing us to, well, are making us put our phones in our bag or in a pouch. So I won't be able to check it as often. But if I do check it, I'm just checking to see if my mom texts me back, or I'll be on Instagram Reels. That's probably about it.
Thank you for your answer. For our next question we have, do you think phones are affecting students' academic performances and how?
I think that the phones are affecting the students who are allowing it to affect them. I think that if you're not able, especially for seniors, for the senior class, I don't think if you're not able to put your phone down, how are you ever going to get through college? I know that the classes that we take here are longer, but I don't think that phones in general are affecting students. I just think that people who aren't able to have the self control to just put your phone down for a second and walk into the work, obviously your grades are going to be bad because you're not able to put your phone down. But for students who are mature enough and who are able to put their phone down and lock into the work, they have good grades. But the students who aren't, the grades show for it.
I think that that's honestly a really good point because if you want to, have that self-control, you need to have some sort of like, basis that like, hey, I'm going to be staying off my phone for the day. I'm going to like actually get some work done. If you don't have that basis set, then you're just going to stay on your phone whenever you can. And, you just, like you said, you have to have some sort of self-control because if you don't have that self-control going into like the real world, then how are you going to function as like an adult? Like you can't be at a job on your phone all the time.
Right.
And so I think that's a great point that you made. Like self-control, it really does play a big role in life. And you need to start learning those basics now in high school because if you don't, then you're never going to develop those skills later on in life.
I totally agree.
We talked about that a lot in our last meeting with Sam. We really talked about like finding that balance for you and like finding that time like, okay, this is my personal time, but this is also like my school time, like I need to be focusing more on my schoolwork rather than like what's going on my phone, like I can always do that later. For emergencies and like certain things, it's understandable, but if it's just to like entertain yourself, it's more like you have to put yourself first and your academics first, and that's really what's more important.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Thank you so much for that amazing response. So for our third question, we have, how do you think we can help students get rid of their phone addiction? Do you have any personal methods that you use?
To get rid of the phone addiction, I just feel like it just depends on the type of person you are. I don't think there's any way that you can actually help somebody because you can't help a person who doesn't want to be helped. If they're not able, when they come into high school, to put their phone down, then I feel like there's just no way you can help them. You just can't help them. But for me, I think that it's all about finding that balance, like you guys said. Like if you'll know, like if you have a bad grade in the class, obviously you're not going to be on your phone, and if you do, there's no way you're passing. So like I feel like you should just be able to just know who you are as a person, and it shouldn't have to be taught. You're not like a kindergarten. You're not in middle school anymore. You shouldn't have to be taught to put your phone away for a second. And I feel like if you're as teachers, if a kid is on their phone constantly, let that kid fail. I know like teachers don't want to let their kids fail, but like I said, you can't save somebody who doesn't want to be saved. You can't help them. If they don't want to put their phone down, then that's on them. We're all mature enough to be able to just put our phones down and lock in the work. So I feel like it just depends on the type of person you are. You'll know what works better for you. You'll know if you want to not do it in school, okay, fine. But as long as you get the work done some way, somehow, that's fine. Whatever works for you, what works for you.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I really think that it is finding what works for you. Like you said, I feel like there's so many different like ways to try. Like I know a lot of people, we were talking about like having breaks in between like studying, like you want to obviously like, put in that time, but you don't want to like overwork yourself because I feel like that's another issue that goes on a lot. So kind of like finding that time, like, okay, like I can have 5 minutes on my phone, or I can have 10 minutes on my phone. Like obviously you still want to like have time to be on your phone, just to, like kind of take yourself away from that, but don't like prioritize like doing your work instead.
Yeah.
I kind of want to go back. Like, do you have any methods for yourself that you use to stay off your phone that you could like share maybe?
Well, for me, being that I be in school, I kind of just, if my teachers are saying like, okay, everybody put our phone away, I just do that. But if they're like allowing us and letting us having our phones out, I just do work for a little bit. I might take like a 5 minute break to just look at my phone for a little bit, but then it's back to work. Honestly, for me, as long as you get the work done, you can take a little break on your phone, but just do your work. And you can take a break for a second, but as long as you get the work done, it really doesn't matter. I don't really have any methods, but mainly I just do the work, take a break for a second, and then get back to it. And I have to just finish it as soon as possible because then your phone's always going to be waiting for you. Like, your phone's always going to be right there. So once you finish the work, you'll be able to get on your phone. So I feel like it's really not that hard if you start to really think about it.
That's the way I see it. The way I am, I know that like when I'm at school, I'm like, okay, I'm here to like get my education. You know, I shouldn't like be on my phone. So like whenever I'll be in class or whatever, and I'll finish an assignment, I'll like go on my phone and I'm like, wait, I have other assignments for other classes. Let me do that right now, so that way when I go home, I don't have to do those assignments and I can just be on my phone at home, or I can like do other things. You know, so it's like that's the way I see it. I know that some people it's like, okay, I have free time, so let me take it, but I personally like to just, do all my schoolwork at school and like just do my me stuff at home.
Yeah, but I get it though. Like burnout is a real thing. Like when you get to school, you probably just be like, I'm tired of being here. I'm drained. I just want to be on my phone for right now, which I get that. But at some point, you got to do the work. So, but I get it. I'd be burned out too. I'd be like, I can't do this right now. I just need a phone break, or I just need to do something else. But it just comes along with just knowing yourself. If you know that you're capable of doing the work when you get home, do it. So be it. You can be on your phone, whatever, but if you know you'll get the work done. But if you're constantly slacking off and not doing your work, but you're sitting there on your phone, that's like some time where you need to like think about your life, because there's no reason why you should sit and be on your phone where we're all mature. Like I keep saying, like there's no way that you just sit on your phone when you know you have them bad grades. Like get that work done.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Aniya.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Any final remarks or piece of advice to anybody watching?
No, guys, just remember to stay blessed during that grind and just get that work done. And remember, your phone isn't everything. I know it's a lifeline, but we can get that work done without it.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Well, we hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. We got a lot of great feedback from our wonderful guests, Sam and Aniya. For our solution, we have a challenge for you guys.
We want to see how long you guys can go without using. This is our final episode of the year, and we couldn't have done it without all of your support.
That's why we want to say thank you to everybody who watched and supported our episodes, and we really enjoyed making them.
So this may be goodbye, but only for now.
As always,
Keep reflecting, Rapid!